Hey there, I'm Jill Allen, and this is Find Your Fierce, the show designed to help you discover your inner strength and unlock an unstoppable mindset that will completely transform how you show up every day. Each week, I will share methods and strategies to inspire you to step into your greatness and live life with purpose. Join me on this journey to becoming fit, fierce, and unstoppable. Hey there, and welcome to episode 201 of Find Your Fierce. I'm so excited to continue our Wellness Unplugged series where we've been tackling everything from the power of movement to breaking free from sugar, understanding gut health and menopause. And today I just know that you're going to feel inspired as we dive into a topic that can truly transform our lives, and it's the power of the mind. And I'm fired up to welcome back my amazing friend, Jennifer Jenkins. Guys, you all loved her last time, and she's here to share even more of her wisdom with us. Jennifer is the founder of Rooted Holistic Health Coaching and brings just an incredible wealth of knowledge as a certified health coach, RN, author, speaker, and with over 20 years of experience in nursing, holistic wellness, and health advocacy. She's passionate about empowering individuals to take charge of their health through a root cause approach. And so get ready to explore how our mindset can impact our well-being and how we can harness that power to lead a happier, healthier life. Let's jump right in. How are you, Jen?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Jill? Thank you so
Good.
much for having me. Love
Ah,
being here with your audience.
this is going to be my favorite topic. I can talk all things mindset because it is such a game changer in everything we do.
Yes, I agree. I could sit here all day and talk about this. It's my
Ah,
favorite topic in the world.
it is. Well, I mean, it just, the power of our thoughts, of how we show up each day. It's just, it can be a game changer or it could be a deal breaker. What have you found? I mean, in terms of, I know we're talking about health and wellness and things like that. And I know people sometimes can be in a rut where they think it's impossible to maybe lose the weight or get back to being healthy or to maybe get off medications, from their nutrition aspect, or, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we're starved or thinking we're starved. And, we go to the pantry and just go crazy, but it just comes back to our mindset, or is that just too simple?
No, it's mindset, it's emotions, it's how we think, how we act, how we feel. It's the whole package deal. And let me give you some context and kind of some of my background and experience around this so that way listeners can understand too, because it's a different, I guess, unique approach. Is areas that I'm trained in is neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy. I'm also a heart math monitor practitioner, as well as an advanced student of Dr. Dispenza's work and one of his coherence healers. And so I have a very unique perspective when it comes to mindset, because I look at the body, the mind, the soul energetically, because it's not just, okay, it's how we think, but it's how emotionally, how quantum physics works, neuroscience works, how our thoughts actually create substance in our reality. So
Wow. Okay.
it's very important. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because this is a big topic, honestly.
This is, woo, that was just like, okay, so break that down.
So first
Break-
of
break-
all, most of us go about our day to day being unconsciously aware. We are addicted to negative emotions. We're addicted to the past. We're addicted. So we make decisions based on past experiences.
Okay.
So I'll integrate this into how this plays out with health and wellness, right? A lot of my clients that come to me, they're like, I've tried everything, nothing works. Like, I can't do this. And I'm sure you hear it too.
Yeah.
This is a common theme that you hear, right?
Hmm.
And I've tried everything, nothing works. I can't seem to lose weight. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I said, first of all, stop, look, let's reframe.
Hmm.
Anytime you say those things, I can't, I am, whatever, you're manifesting that in your life. Those are
Yeah.
manifesting words. You've already declared it. So when you declare something, how your mind works, your unconscious mind, it's like the master of the ship. And so when we say, I can't, then your mind is like, oh, wait, we can't lose weight. Remember, you told us that we can't do that. So therefore, we're going to hit a wall. Or I can't, the story, I love to share my story, like about running. I told myself the story for years. I couldn't run.
Mm,
I had a coach. I was a gymnast. I was very quick, fast sprinter. And I
yeah.
was told for years I couldn't run. I couldn't,
I'm not a
so I
runner.
bought, yeah, I'm not a runner. So I bought into that belief until my 30s. I
Wow.
convinced myself so much that I couldn't run that I'd go out, I'd try to run and I would hit a wall
Yeah.
at a quarter mile in.
And
And
now
then
you're doing a half marathon, what, in
yeah,
January?
yeah,
Again?
yeah. So I started to understand like what lies was I telling myself, right? I bought into that belief. And this is where the belief, what people believe is what you bring about, right? Because you've already convinced your mind, you've convinced your body, you've convinced yourself that this is your destiny. And this is where, first of all, raising that veil of saying, is that true? Is that really true?
Mm,
Right?
yeah.
And we just buy into these false beliefs or somebody else's beliefs that they've placed upon us, maybe when we were little
Hmm.
and we didn't know. And so we've created our identity around that belief system our entire life. And so our life plays out in accordance to that belief system that we had.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking about like some of the things that I tell myself. I mean, you mentioned that I'm not a runner. Mindset thought the last couple years, I'm like, I'm not fast anymore, or, what happened to me, or maybe I should just stick to hiking, things like that, because it has changed where instead of reframing, I love how you use that word to reframe our thoughts and go from there because I think I'm thinking about like how I speak to myself sometimes on my runs. And you just get slower and slower and more miserable,
Yes.
and start thinking about all the things that are going wrong versus everything that is going in the right direction.
Exactly. This is a game that I played with myself that when I told myself I used to make fun of people who used to run marathons. I always said they were crazy. Like, why would anybody want to do that? That's just like, why would you
Right.
want to run that long, right?
Yeah.
And then I did one. I
There's a
joined the
lot
club.
of crazy. Those
Yeah.
races sell out so fast
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then the fact that we all pay for it too, is crazy too. This can go, not, I mean, obviously not just in weight loss or our health, our career, the way we raise our family, what we think about when it comes to relationships, our marriage, our friendships, just everything. You kind of brought up the thought that we are naturally, I call it drama, but attracted to the negativity. Do you think that's just easier to believe, or is something that we just settle with?
Yeah, so you think about like the way the mind operates, 90% of our thoughts every day are negative, and 90% are the same thoughts we have every day. We only have 10% new thoughts each and every day. So think about that for a moment. We
Oh,
have a hardwired program that's happening in our brain. So we're basing, again, every single day based on past emotional experiences, past thoughts, past behaviors, past whatever. And it's like Groundhog Day every single day, and only 10% new thoughts. So, how we halt this is really just to stop, pause, and really pay attention to that voice in your head. What are we saying to ourselves?
mm,
Right? And what was my turning point? Some of those that have heard my story, getting really sick, being sick in a sick care system for 5 years, seeing multiple specialists, multiple medications, buying into their belief that I couldn't heal, right? And was in this downward spiral, having a label on me that I was supposed to live with these things for the rest of my life. And when I had that awakening, I'm like, no, I don't. Like, why am I buying into their belief? I'm not buying into that belief.
how
I'm gonna
did you get that awakening? Like, because I don't think people realize that they're even in a negative cycle. Like, they truly believe
hmm. Oh
that this is
yeah.
their reality. I mean, they'll accept the doom and gloom and use that to
hmm
justify, to make an excuse of anything when it comes to moving forward that can make a difference in their life. So, I mean, how did you get that like aha moment of, wait a minute, it does not have to be the way they're telling me?
For me, it was really, I hit rock bottom. It was the defining moment for me was, part of my story is like, it was New Year's Eve, like getting ready to go out and just hit rock bottom with my health and just was like, everything was all like, I wasn't happy with my career, how I was showing up in my marriage. I wasn't, proud of the mom I was, like all things, right? And I did that self-reflection in that moment. And I asked myself tough questions. Is what you're doing working? Right? Is it
That's
working? Like, how many years do you need to see somebody and you're not getting any better, you're getting worse? Well, that's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We have to take ownership over ourselves. We have to become empowered. Nobody's saving us. We need to save ourselves. And, I had to have that really hard conversation and look in the mirror back to myself was, what was I doing? Right? How was I acting? How was I thinking? Who was I surrounding myself with? What was I putting into my body? Like all the things. And when I really realized, like, my thoughts, I was addicted to the news. I
Mm.
was watching the news morning, noon, and night. As soon as I got up, I was like, oh, what's happening in the world? And lunch break, like, oh, what's going on? I need to, I got caught up in that. And then it became a fear-based for me. I was basing my decisions based on fear. And then when you're in that vulnerable state, right? And then you have somebody else telling you things like how bad things are for me, like every specialist I went to, how horrible I was, right?
Yeah.
And I'm buying into that, like, oh my gosh, it's doom and gloom, right? And it was this vicious cycle that I caught myself in. And so when we're in that state, we attract more of it. That's the way energy works. That's the way quantum physics works. The energy is aligned with us. So I knew if I wanted to break free out of this state, I had to change what I was thinking, how I was acting, how I was feeling to get a different outcome. That was the only way out of this. So it
Mm.
was kind of this awakening that I had, like I said, is am I going to keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting worse and worse and worse? Or am I actually going to do something about it with that stuff that I can control? I can control, nobody's telling me how to control my thoughts. There's nobody's going to tell me to do that. I need to do that. And I needed to start like being consciously aware of those thoughts to create a different outcome. That's the beginning.
Mm. This is good. How is it working for you? I mean, that's a question that we all have to ask. Like, what are we doing right now, and is it working? And obviously, it can be changed. I think about, the people who walk around with the black cloud over them, and everything in their life is just like turmoil and just negative and not good. And I'll ask, like, my very close friends, like, well, have you talked to Jesus lately? Like, how's it doing it like your way? Or I think about like the food, like I can't, wait 12 hours to have my next meal, and but they're, grabbing like the granolas and the protein bars and all of that. And it's like, well, how's that working for you? That is like the go to me. That's an amazing question. Yeah. So
It's a
you're sitting
simple
there on New
question.
Year's Eve and you're like, how's it working for you, Jen?
Right, exactly. After I had my pity party and I
Yeah.
cried and like wanting to blame exteriorly everybody around me, why my life was so miserable, blame my boss, blame my doctors, blame, my circumstances, blame this, blame that, my past, the way I was raised, like, it didn't matter. Like, I just wanted to blame everyone. I was in victim
Yeah.
mode, right?
Yeah.
We're never going to heal in victim mode.
But sometimes we think we thrive on it.
Oh, yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I had to step out of that victim mentality and now start becoming more empowered. What can I change?
Hmm.
Because
What?
nobody's going to change it for me. That's the reality. If we want change, we do have to change.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And it starts with us because when we change our thoughts, what neuroscience, quantum physics shows us, our thoughts create substance. Our thoughts have an energetic frequency to them. So, and this is, I give this prime example. So, like heart math monitoring, this is, like I said, is the area that I'm trained in. And this is 30 years of research from Stanford. It's amazing, amazing research that's been done and showing how our thoughts, our emotions completely change the energy around us and our environment. And when we have, like, and so give you an example, have you ever walked into a room and you just get a bad vibe?
Oh yeah, it's the ick, right? Like you just
Yes. Nobody even says a word. And you're like, even like work or whatever, you just walk in, you're like, ew, what's going on here? Right? It's
yeah.
just this negative vibe. That's no coincidence. That's people's thoughts, emotions that they're putting off that you're picking up. That's the frequency.
Mm.
This is why this work is so important, is because when we change, we can literally change our environment. So, prime example, when I came home, when I was not feeling well, my kids would run and hide because they're like, oh, mom's in a bad mood. I didn't even say a word. I'm like, what the heck?
Walking on eggshells.
Yeah. I'm like, what's going on here? And that's when I really started to realize, like, oh my gosh, my thoughts, my actions, my behavior is actually impacting my family. So when I changed and I was happier and I was feeling more in control, my kids softened right? They were like, even my pets were like coming around like, oh, okay, she must be in a good mood today.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
wow. Yeah.
So we attract or we repel based on our energy. It shows up not only in our health, our relationships, our career, everything. It's everything.
Well, I want to attract. That's that's what I want
Yes.
in my
Yes.
life is I want to, and I probably been guilty of repelling a time or two. So, okay, so you said to halt this, we need to just like stop, pause, think about what we're thinking about,
Yes.
ask the tough questions. I think that's the tough part is maybe we don't ask enough questions to ourselves. I mean, it's asking the right questions too, because we can ask questions all day. Is it hard for you? Yes. That's not
Of
a good,
course.
that's not a good question. Do you want to quit? Yes. That's not good. So what else can we ask ourselves to get us out of this cycle or the victim mentality? Because I bet we can all say that we've had a victim mindset at some point in time.
100%.
Yeah.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is modern society, and we're all, want to be in this, some caliber, right? And that's what neurolinguistic programming is about. It's the language of the mind, it's reframement, it's creating a new reality. It's based on because we're so hardwired with our old, like I said, our old thoughts, our old patterns, behaviors, emotions. It's all a process, right? And so the body and the mind becomes disconnected. So we have the body making decisions for the mind because we're basing it on emotions. So, first things first is, really, I like to focus on, yes, asking yourself the tough questions of, is this true? Is this really true? Can I
Mm,
really not run? Is that true? Because I already proved to myself I could run a quarter mile, right?
yeah. Can you add
So
another?
that's not true. I
Mm,
can run. I am capable of running.
okay.
And so we start to look at like, asking the questions like, is it true? Is it, what can I control? What can I change about this situation here? How can I respond differently? How can I act differently? How can I think differently? And, who you surround yourself is
Mhm.
so critical. I can't stress this enough, your environment,
Yeah,
because
hands
it
down.
influences your behavior, your thoughts, your patterning. So if your current circumstances is not working for you, one of the fastest ways that you can change is change who you're surrounding yourself with and what you're letting into your mind. So I haven't watched the news in like my son's now 19, so 19 years.
Gosh,
I
I
turned it
believe
off
that.
when he was a baby. I said, I'm done. I'm done with this. And, I'll catch it, of course, like during critical times, what we're dealing with right now, with where we live, like the hurricane and all this stuff. Of course, I need to see like, I'm not going to be naive either. I need to
Yeah,
know,
you're
do
not
I
on
need to be
Nova.
prepared, right? Or not? And those sort of things, but at a distance, right? I get on, I see where we're at. I'm not going to continue to watch all the other stories.
Yeah.
I had to set a boundary of where, what's good for my mind and what's not good for my mind. So I think, the real thing is, not only just asking yourself, is this working, but asking like, what can I control?
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's definitely, well, there's a lot of things we can control. I think sometimes there's so many times like people think that everything's out of control, and a lot of things are out of our control. I mean, that's just, but our mindset, our attitude on things, and the steps that follow that. I mean, whether or not we take action or continue to be in action, I guess, when it comes to our thoughts. Oh, wow. Okay. So stop, pause, reframe, ask questions. Do you think like in terms of like decision making to do this? Because we have to be willing to change. Because you said if we're hardwired and 90% of our thoughts are already ingrained, I know there is a way to create new pathways
Oh,
in our
oh,
brain.
good.
So can we flip flop that? Can we
Yeah.
increase? I mean, because I don't know about you, like I don't think that we're never going to have a bad thought. I mean,
It's human
that's
nature.
default system,
Yeah.
yes, but it's how fast we get out of that. Because I don't think we can just sit here and just say, let's be positive all day long. That's not going to happen.
No.
But if you have to flip it like quickly,
So can I
so
give,
how can we create new brain pathways?
yeah, one of the fastest ways that we can do this, like this is where heart math comes in and NLP comes in, is we look at I always tell my clients, first of all, we have to focus on gratitude. Gratitude is the strongest emotion of receivership. And so, despite everything that's happening around us, we all go through turmoil. We all experience, I mean, this is unfortunately is life. We would love to just navigate through life and have trauma free and no issues at all. And it's all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, right? But the reality is, we all do experience trauma to some extent. We all experience, negative emotions. And the only true emotion, by the way, that's ever existed is love. All
Mm,
the other emotions are learned emotions that we've learned through our environment. We weren't born with fear.
yeah.
We weren't born with hate. We weren't born with these negative emotions. We've learned this through the exterior world. And so when we really get back into love and gratitude, and so one of the fastest ways that we can start to reframe the negative mindset and to get one into one that's going to be conducive to healing. Because our body, and let me pause here and explain this too. Our bodies cannot heal in a negative frame, because we're activating the sympathetic nervous system, which is your stress response system of your nervous system. It is nearly impossible for your body to heal in that state. It's going to be a very, very long ride. When we are one of a heightened emotion, love, enlightenment, gratitude, that is where all these different hormones are being released, and that's where healing happens. This is important to understand this.
Yeah.
So this is why I cringe. That's why I'm saying there's so many things that need to change now in the way that we handle and we treat patients, because we need to be focusing on these things that are going to be conducive to healing at a much faster rate. So want to go back to this real quick, Jill. The fastest way that we can rewire is to turn it into gratitude. So
Okay.
despite everything that's happening out of our control right now, like we can't control how, we can bring it, we can feel it because we have a heart, right? We care about other people and we want to help, but when we can't help, when we literally cannot help, let's turn it around. Like, let's be grateful for what we do have, what we can control, because what people don't realize is us controlling our emotional state is a way of giving back. Because again, it changes our environment. So when I'm negative and I walk into my work environment, my
Yeah.
environment's going to start to become negative just based on me and how I'm responding. But if I walk in positive, optimistic, and love and compassion and caring, it changes that environment. So having a state of gratitude is so important. So, what can you be grateful for? If you're listening to this podcast, you're alive. There's purpose. You're here. That you should be grateful for, right? I'm grateful that I have my vision to see. I'm grateful that I have ears to listen to this. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. We have a lot of people around us that don't have that right now.
Hmm.
So when we want to go into this, state of, it's a downward spiral. Like we start on one negative thought that fires the next neuron, and then it's, here and there, and we end up down this rabbit hole. And so when we can start to like immediately become aware, like, okay, whoa, stop, stop. We're not jogging down that memory pathway today.
Yeah.
Let's stop here.
It's very hard to be negative and positive at the same time and grateful at the same time.
Yes.
There's a gratitude journal and things like that. I just encourage someone to just start jotting those things down. And I bet over just in a short amount of time, that list will continue to get larger and larger or longer, because what you're attracting and you start changing. And so we might not have to think so much because it's just overflowing with good things in our life.
Add to that is, with the gratitude, it changes the neurochemicals that are being released in the brain and in the body. So when we're under a stress state, we are releasing cortisol. We're also releasing a ton of neurochemicals, and then the body gets activated. And this is why we end up in this stuck state that we get in. Like, I don't know why I can't lose weight. I don't know why, like, I keep having like the same things. And that's because we've conditioned the body to
Mhm.
respond to the mind. It's responding as a result. So the neurochemicals are matching. So when we start to identify those negative patternings, right, those negative thoughts that we have, in its tracks. And I always like to tell my clients like to envision like a huge red flashing stop sign. Like, so when those thoughts come up, just bring about that big red flashing stop sign and like, stop, not today.
Yeah.
And quickly divert that thought into one of gratitude. Not just think it, feel it. Sit with it until you start to feel the emotion, because when we feel it, that changes the response that's happening too with the neurochemicals that are being released. So we halt like the release of cortisol, and we can start to open up and start to change the chemical response that's happening within the body.
Identify the lie, the negative thought pattern, reframe it, focus on the truth. I love it. I love it. The mind is so powerful. It's intriguing, really, of how
Yeah. And
to show up.
yeah, and how much people hold themselves back from. They have limiting beliefs around their capabilities. They bought into false beliefs that aren't true. Somebody else has said something to them, or they unconsciously, 95% of our thoughts is unconscious. Like we're not even aware that, we've picked up on this throughout our life. And so why this is so important is like, usually around from the age of 0 to 7, our conscious mind isn't developed yet. So everything that's coming in is going into our unconscious mind. So we don't even know where these beliefs came from. You wouldn't, because it probably happened when you were so little
Right.
that you adopted that belief. You could have had an uncle that said, "Oh, you know, just you overheard a conversation that says money is the root of all evil," right? And then you bought into that belief, money is the root of all evil. Oh, I see. Yeah. And so then your entire life, you have this belief around money being the root of all evil. To me, having that reframement, like I spoke to my neighbor yesterday who has his own helicopter, who was doing his own rescues and dropping off water to people in need. And I'm like, to me, money's not the root of all evil. That's amazing that you can do that. That requires money, to his own hard-earned money that he's giving back and doing really, really good with it.
I
Right.
just got
So
the
that's a
chill.
false belief,
Yeah.
right?
Wow. I can't imagine the potential that can be unlocked today when people grab a hold of this and to just actually stop and think about what it is that they're speaking and telling themselves that's holding them back. I mean, just all the breakthroughs can be absolutely amazing.
We were all meant for abundance. We're all meant to live a life with full potential.
Mhm.
And when we really get over ourselves and we start breaking free of these chains and what's no longer serving us and it's not serving our higher self, you do become unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like you say, you
Yeah.
really do. It's us that holds ourselves back in our belief system, in our, so many areas that keep us held in these chains from being able to be our full self.
Not today. Not today. We're breaking free.
That's right. Yes.
It's
Yes.
good. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here and, just again, sharing your wisdom and just pouring into so many lives. It's so good. I have a feeling someone's going to grab a hold of this today and, flip the script when it comes to what it is that they're thinking today. Be forever changed. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Jill. Thank you for all that you do and pouring into the community like you do. I mean, it's because of people like you that we are making a movement and people are changing and for the better. So thank you for all that you do and
For
getting,
sure. You got to keep us updated on your podcast too. So
yes, I will.
that's the good stuff. Uh,
Yes,
yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you.
And that's all for today's episode on the power of the mind. If you felt inspired to step out and tackle what you once believed was impossible, I invite you to join us on this journey. And if you're ready to take control of your health, balance your hormones, and feel your best, don't miss out on the 5-day reset and our new GLP-1 enhancer. Guys, I have been partnered with Modere for the past 5 years, and I'm genuinely obsessed with their clean, game-changing products. I'd love to help you get started. Just head over to modere.com and use the code FIT&FIERCE, all one word, and just grab your savings and enjoy free shipping, guys. If you have any questions or need more guidance, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to support you every step of the way. And make sure to tune in next time because the Wellness Unplugged series is still going strong. If you've enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to Find Your Fierce so you never miss an update. Leave a review and follow us on social media at Hike, Live, Explore for more wellness tips and updates. I'd really appreciate it if you could share this episode with your friends and family who might benefit from a fitness boost. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time, remember to be fit, be fierce, be unstoppable. See ya.